Good afternoon.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you doing today?
I am good. Sorry, trying to get situated.
Take your time.
Yeah. Um, yeah, trying to just get set up. I need a proper background. I think this is just not
You
a lot.
know, I struggle with my house because I have no curtains in my house at all
Okay.
and white walls, and so I get a lot of bleed over, light because of that. But it's too hard to fix, and I'm not willing to go from
Yeah.
20 years of no curtains to all of a sudden curtains just because I need it for Zoom. So.
Yeah. I have this window behind me which provides a lot of good light, but on this camera, it seems like I'm in a cave or something. So, um, yeah. I I thought we'd be back in the office. I never really made the investment in the camera or anything else. I just made like kind of the desk area. But maybe I need to do that.
Well, it looks good now. When you close the shutters or door or whatever that was, the light is perfect.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, yeah, I'm glad we got a chance to connect. I know that we met at the one of the meetup groups. I think it was the Briscoe's deal. But yeah, it's good to connect with you one on one.
Yeah, that's what I have also. That we had first met at one of Brian's things, I think last month, and so I'm really glad that you um, gave some time and really appreciated when I can get fellow investors on the line and talk and get to know each other a little bit better. So. Why don't we, if you don't mind, what I'd like to do, and of course it's your time, so we'll do whatever you want to do, but I'd love to hear, a little color, a little background on your history and what you've done, up till now and why you're interested in commercial real estate.
Sure. So I've been in banking for the past 12 years. And I basically got into banking out of school and went through the credit training program at one of these smaller banks here in Houston. So I had the formal credit training, and then started in oil and gas. So I started oil and gas lending. So I was in the on the underwriting side. So I did the underwriting, putting together the credit packages, running the analysis, and kind of keeping up with the compliance and all the other things that came along with the lending aspects in the bank. And then in 2014, I moved into a relationship management role. And that really consisted of bringing in new clients, just keeping up relationships with an existing portfolio, trying to cross sell more business to the existing clients, other services within the bank to the clients. A lot of that was commodity hedging, working with the traders and the advisors there. Debt capital markets advisory, so issuing bonds or public debt. And then also deposits was another big one. And a lot of our clients are international. So there was, a foreign exchange component as well, and some interest rate hedging. So got a little bit of a taste of all that. I was more of a project manager, or I guess our role was a project manager within the bank. So we brought together a lot of different groups into the bank, and we brought the other groups together whenever we kind of had something on the line or a deal that needed to be done. But in 2016, after the downturn in 2015, I started investing in real estate, and I started out on the single family side, and then moved into the multifamily side in about 2018. And from the multifamily side, I've done 5 deals so far with different groups. 3 of those are with kind of the Sumrock group, the guys in the different guys in the Sumrock group. One of those is a guy in Houston that I know, and then
Who
another one's in
who is the one in Houston?
the Kevin Wood. He's with the company, or I guess his company is Stagecoach Capital or Realty, one of those. And then another one in San Antonio that's with Disrupt Equity, if you know
Okay.
those guys,
Yep.
Ben and Ferris, them. So yeah, I'm in 5 deals, and I'm looking next year. Actually, I've decided to leave banking and oil and gas, and I'm moving full time into real estate. So I'm looking at moving to or I'm moving. I'm going to start in January. I'm moving to a company called Lumit to do debt brokering.
What used to be Hunt?
Hunt, yeah, Hunt.
Yeah.
Hunt was bought and then merged and then renamed, rebranded. So I'll be starting with them in January and just working on the origination side. So trying to bring in clients and originate new debt, mainly focusing on the small balance Fannie and Freddie deals. So that's kind of a little bit of an overview. I'm trying to have conversations with people, one, to just get to know folks, broaden the real estate network, and then also to look for more passive deals, to learn about what people are doing in the space and the operators, where the markets are and where things are trending, and then also just to kind of bridge to the next year, to my next job, to do the debt brokering and look for deals to originate and help people with finding the right product that fits kind of their assets and their strategy.
Mm-hmm. So are you looking to change up any of your investing, or you're just going to continue investing? You're kind of in a lane right now and going to continue in that lane, or what does that side of your work life look like?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I still want to do the passive multifamily deals. I mean, I'm still learning about the different markets and learning where the opportunities are. And originally I wanted to stick in Texas because I knew it. I knew all the cities that I was investing in, but I'm seeing that, at least from Brian's group, there is a lot of opportunities in the South, or I guess the Southeast, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, those areas. And so learning more about those, and just I'll continue doing the passive deals. And then on my active side, my side business, I'm trying to consider what's next there. Is it kind of the GP, apartment GP? Is it another asset class, putting together deals in another asset class, or is it something else? But I mean, I know that it's going to be tied to real estate in some way, but still trying to figure out exactly what it is. And I don't know, being kind of the fundamental analysis type, I like to really figure out what the driving factors are before I jump into anything.
Yeah, totally understand. So, so let's see, January, we're talking about what?
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks now.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks, you'll be moving on to Lumen.
Yeah, I've already
Lumen or Lumen or
Lumint to Lumint.
ENT.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Lumen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And so I know when they merged, there was several different companies that came together that were really concentrating on different spaces, very different spaces. And so coming from your background, did you seek them out and you wanted to work there, or did they come looking for you?
I just started having conversations with folks, like, talking to people that I knew in real estate, the people that I'd met on whenever I was doing it kind of as a side passive deal. And then I kind of set a little bit early on the debt brokerage. I was talking to friends, talking to, close family members in real estate, and they said, knowing you and knowing your skills, we think that debt brokerage would be a good area to go into and to pursue. So I started talking to different groups and just seeing, what the opportunities were there. And this opportunity just came out through a couple of conversations. And, it's really a position that I didn't, go out and find. It found me. So it was a referral from one of the guys that I know here in Houston. And he put me in touch with a guy, and then we just started talking. And then he said, it sounds like you'd be a good fit. Why don't I see if I can, get the spot or get the position approved.
Mm-hmm. So did they not have anyone in Houston, or are you going to take someone's place, or are they just needing extra boots on the ground? What's the story?
There's one guy here. His name's Tony Talamas, and he's the only one in Houston. A lot of the folks are up in Dallas, but he's been in Houston for about 4 years now. And I'm going to be working with him mainly, but it'll be kind of we'll be working together. I guess originally I'll be focused more on the origination and going out and finding the deals and driving the conversations. And then he has kind of the experience with pushing the deal or, running the deals through internally. And so that's going to be kind of like a bifurcated role, but we'll be working together as a team. And then ultimately, as I learn more about, kind of the back office or, moving the deals through and that side of things, then it'll be, I guess, just kind of like an originator, what they call an originator over there. But it'll be kind of a transition into that full service role.
Yeah. So I'm sure you probably know more than I do, but I know that they, I assume they're not going to spin off any of the other pieces that the other companies, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of I think there was at least two others, and the word Red something stands out in my mind.
Red Capital Group,
Red Capital Group, and which I think were more hard money lenders and different creative pieces.
I think so.
Yeah, and those are pieces that obviously I think there's a lot of growth opportunity in commercial real estate, because it's not a piece that people that are doing single family are very, very familiar with it and use it all the time. Not too many people are using it in our space. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there with different products at hand. There's a lot of deals that I think are not going to fit Freddie and Fannie moving forward in the near future. So I guess what I'm saying is I'd love to have a resource for somebody that can put together hairy deals. Obviously, I'm a connector, and because of that, I know a ton of people in the business. I know a ton of people on the mortgage side of the business. Have some people that I consider to be pretty good friends. But by the same token, it's very difficult to when the closer a friendship you have with someone, makes it more difficult not to do business with them. So you may not know, or you may know, I have a very close relationship with Old Capital out of DFW.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I have done loans outside of Old Capital with other lenders, but it's usually something that Old Capital had already seen, and it just didn't fit didn't fit into their box, so to speak. So we went somewhere else. But I'm always open to networking. I don't want to get out over my skis and make any commitments or promises. You just don't know what's going to happen in this business. You don't know, what turns, twist, or a direction a deal is going to head. You just never know. But I think that looking at the other side of your enterprise, looking at the multifamily and the investing side, you've got. I would encourage you to continue to be very, very active on that side. I would literally encourage you to have 2 full-time jobs at the same time, because I think they blend so well together. One of the things you may know, do you know many of the people over at Old Capital?
I do. I've spoken with James several times. I know Hans, and that's really it. I mean, I'm really familiar with them from their material and everything else. But yeah.
So you probably know that just about every one of them are also big time investors.
Yeah. I got that impression. I mean, especially how Michael started out, and
they don't really talk about it much, except for Michael. Michael talks about his every single day. But none of the rest of them do. But all of them are big investors. And so, because it tracks so well with loan origination, it's something that just literally you can do both jobs full time at the same time. and the connections and and even more than the connections, the resources at your fingertips. You know, having CoStar at your fingertips, Yardi at your fingertips, Reese reports, all these other things that are at your fingertips, is such a huge piece of value, that you don't have as just a regular everyday investor. And all of the additional people that you're meeting on both sides, sellers and buyers, it puts you in a really unique position to be on the GP side of deals. And coming from your background in regular everyday banking, there's just a ton of resources there. It's like, for the life of me, I've never been able to figure out why real estate brokers, and I'm talking about residential brokers, the vast majority of 90% of them have never invested in a property,
Yeah.
unless you count owning your own house as an investment.
Yeah.
So none of them are investors, and it just never made sense to me. They've got all the resources, they understand the market and what's going on. They see how money can be made, but none of them are doing it. And surprisingly, mortgage brokers are and even the commercial brokers are in the same boat, not to the same extent, but I doubt that there's 30% of the people in the business that are actually investors themselves.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, and
Yeah.
it just, one of those things blows my mind,
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those, you have access to, like you said, you have access to everything. You're spending your at least 8 hours a day, on this stuff. Why not break it out or bridge it out into something so that there's that kind of a symbiotic or, strategic kind of connection with what you're doing and what you're, creating kind of as a, business on yourself. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That, and that's part of what drew me to real estate, is you have more of those opportunities to do things. And oil and gas, it's a lot bigger. You need a lot more. It's not something you can do on your own. You need other team members. It is really, you need a subsurface guy. You need a guy on the ground, boots on the ground. You need a guy that's watching the production. You just need engineer, geologist, finance, landman. So you need like several key characters, but in real estate, it's more entrepreneurial, to where you can kind of outsource a lot of those and still have that trust level as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And multifamily is a team sport also. Very few people can do it by themselves, but I don't know anything about oil and gas. But I can imagine it takes even a much, much bigger team. But having that background, just the Rolodex that comes with you from oil and gas, and the fact that, I know that outside of multifamily real estate, probably one of the biggest hedge against taxes is oil and gas. So those people understand, how to protect their income. And so, getting them to have an interest in multifamily is probably an easy transition. So from a capital standpoint, and an investor database, your banking background, dealing with high net worth individuals, small business owners, and just having that kind of Rolodex at your fingertips. If you didn't take it with you, or if you don't already have that at home, shame on you. Because there's only a few golden geese in this world, and that a Rolodex like that is definitely a golden goose.
Yeah, absolutely. Spent a lot of time building that up. It is a big asset.
Yeah.
Yeah, no comment on if I have it or not.
Yeah, good for you.
But yeah, no, Jim, I've seen you around. I see that you're active, and but could you tell me a little bit more about what you're doing or what you're focused on?
Sure. Yeah. So I had just a huge mishap out in Phoenix earlier in the year, and it cost me a great deal of my net worth and liquidity, a great deal. And it was a COVID closing that went sideways. And so I'm at an age where I don't have to keep doing this if I don't want to do it. And after that, I've had a very long career as an entrepreneur and have owned several different businesses. I've had a lot of bad business partners, and I've had a lot of deals go sideways on me. But I've always been able to continually move forward, just not as fast as I want to. So for my life has been a series of 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So every time I think I'm about to, you know, finally make it, so to speak, I'll have something happen and set me back, and I have to start over again. So I've started over so many times in my lifetime, but luckily for me, I've always moved forward a little bit each time. And so this last mishap um, really was the biggest one that I've ever had, and it really gave me pause. And I was at a point where I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. It's every time something happens, it's cuts a little deeper, or feels like it cuts a little deeper.
Yeah.
And so I took a couple of months off. I went to Hawaii to visit my son and my grandson during the middle of COVID. So you have to stay at least 14 days quarantine. So I just decided to stay over there for an extended period of time. And while I was there, the island is empty, no tourists, nothing. So I had all of these tourist destinations to myself, more or less. And I was on Kauai. They've got this thing called the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. And so I spent a lot of time sitting up on the edge of cliffs, looking over into this forested canyon, and just reevaluating all my goals and what I wanted to do. And when I came back home, I had come up with a new business plan and decided that I was going to try to stay in the business, but I needed to do it in a different way. And so I gave myself 6 months to 18 months to try this out. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, then I'll just consider myself on the sidelines and retired. So I decided to beta test it, one investor at a time. And I wanted to concentrate on a particular type of investor. I wanted to concentrate on people that have not done a deal of their own, but want to do a deal, and have not been able to for whatever reason. They're struggling to get their first deal done, or they've been in the business for a little while, but just can't seem to get enough traction, to move forward at the rate that they want to. And so I put myself out there that, look, that's who my avatar is. That's who I want to help. That's who I want to work with. And I'll give you 90% of what you need to get a deal done. And I'll hold your hand and help you get there. Okay. I'll loan you my net worth. I'll loan you my liquidity. I've got agency debt experience. I'll loan that to you. If you need a mentor, a coach, a teacher, I'll be there for you. And so basically, that's what I wanted to do. And I wanted to create a platform. I'm 62 and I've been going to these coaching programs for 40 years. And I'm embarrassed to say how much money I've spent on those things.
Yeah.
And they always left me uncomfortable. We'll just leave it at that. They left me uncomfortable. There was something about them that I thought the business model was broken, that it wasn't right. But in fact, what I thought was bugging me was wrong, because when I really started digging into it, I realized their business plans are not broken. And in fact, their business plans are brilliant. But it still left me uncomfortable, because I realized what was really bothering me. Those programs have probably a 90, maybe even a 95% dropout rate. So when you go into a weekend event at one of these things, the very first things they'll tell you is, look, 80% of you people are going to leave here today and never get involved with this. It's just not for you. And so right away, they're admitting they've got an 80%, failure rate or dropout rate.
Yeah.
But what's more interesting is that when you sign up, and you go to the next weekend, they'll say the same thing on stage that day. 80% of you, we're going to give you all the tools, all the resources, connections, everything that you need to make this work. But we cannot make it work for you. That's up to you. You have to take the resources and do something with them. Okay. And so again, they're saying, 80% of the 20% of you that are left are going to fail. And that's what always bothered me is I'm like, that's why, I didn't voice it to myself internally, but really what I was saying to myself is, you're standing there admitting that you're my teacher and 80% of us are going to fail. And if I did that back in school, if one of my teachers stood up in front of my class and said, look, first day of algebra class, 80% of you are going to fail, and that would have been totally, if they would have done that to my kids, I would have been up in arms. I'd have been at that school the next day saying, I want that person fired.
Yeah.
And so that was the thing that was bothering me. And I just didn't give a voice to it. But to keep this short, I think that I figured out a way to address that 80%, that 80% dropout rate. And that's what I'm trying to do. And whether or not it succeeds or fails, it's not a business that I'm doing. It's not a business that I'm doing for financial reasons. It's more about trying to give something back and create something that will outlive me. And so that's what I'm working on. And the beta test of that was trying to work with individuals. And if it would work one person at a time and I could figure out how to make it work, and it seemed like it would work, then I'd move forward with it. And so I've only really been doing it for a few months, and it's already much, much bigger and much more successful than I ever thought it would be at this stage. So I'm pretty sure that it's going to, I said I gave myself up to 18 months, but I'm further along right now than I thought I would be even at 18 months. And I'm further behind in other areas, but basically what I'm trying to do is take the best of what I've learned from all of that coaching myself over the years, and provide that in what I like to, I haven't given a name to it per se, but I want to open source all of the information, all the tools, all the connections. If you can think of Linux, the Linux operating system, I want to create something like that for multifamily, for commercial real estate, and for anything related to commercial real estate. I want to break the paradigm of what is already there, not just the teaching piece of it, not just eventually. Now I'm starting with the mentoring, teaching piece of it, but I eventually want this to apply to anything that you can think of in regard to commercial real estate. I want to change it, and I want to use technology. I want to use open source. I want to use the crowdfunding mentality. I want to use. I want to become the Wikipedia, if you will, of this space, and make all of this available. I want to tear down any barrier that would prevent you from owning a multifamily building if that's what you want to do. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to do it, but at the very least, I want to take away the barriers for people to do it. And then if they're able to do it, and they see that they're able to do it, and they can't find an excuse for not doing it other than I'm just too afraid, then I feel like I've succeeded. Because if nothing else, I've eliminated all the other excuses for them, and they know, look, this is just not, I thought I wanted to do it, but I guess I don't want to do it. Okay. And they can realize that it's just fear holding them back. And so I'm absolutely 100% perfectly okay with a 20% failure rate, a 20% dropout rate, but I want to give that other 80% the opportunity to do it, because people spend a lot of money, even coming to the original one weekend event or 1-day event. You know, most of the time it costs you anywhere from $100 to $300 just to go to those events.
Yeah.
And then if you sign up for these programs, you know, most of them are anywhere from 25 grand to 100 grand, you know, to sign up and be part of those mentoring programs. And so it's not like people are going out here just saying, oh, I wished I could do it, you know, because they're actually putting their money where their mouth is. Even the 1-day events, you know, I don't casually drop $100 just to go waste a weekend, you know, waste an all day Saturday. And so I think that these people are serious. And so I want to help them find out what their sticking point is and give them every opportunity. I cannot fix every sticking point, but I think I can eliminate most of them. You know, but fear, that will be the hardest one to overcome, to fix.
Yeah.
And it's not 100% fixable. It's just not.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the biggest one for people, and just getting over that uncertainty hump. And no, I see that. Jim, I'm sorry, I have another call, but how can I help you? How can I help you with what you're doing, and just kind of help you out?
I don't know. I would say that from a regular lending standpoint, just being associated and I know deals that people ask me to partner with them on. I'm at this point in my life, I don't know how long this will last, but I am going to continue doing business with Oak Capital until that relationship goes sour, which I hope it never does. But you just don't know about friendships and relationships when they're going to turn. So I don't ever want to not know people in this business. If you're in this business, whether or not we connect on a lending piece or not, there's going to be lots of other people that I know that are going to need other resources. So I think that there's some synergies there. And if you really want to add value to me personally, and I'd love to add value to you, but what I'd be very interested in the other products that you guys are going to be, using, things that Oak Capital cannot provide for me. And I do not have an existing relationship yet in some of these more creative pieces. And also, if you decide that you want to build up the dual path career, I think that there's a lot of things that I could do to help you out in those regards. With connections and just introductions to, when you start sharing your database with people, and all of a sudden they're not talking to 1,000 people, but they're talking to 2,000 because they're using your database too. Those are the kind of things where I think people start to associate our names together, and it lends more credibility to both of us. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'll definitely, I wrote those down, so I'll keep those in mind. Love to just, plan some follow-ups every few months just to keep in touch. I'm sure I'll see you at the weekly meetings or whatever, the meetups and all that stuff as well. So love to keep in touch with you on that. Yeah, I know. I think my strategy right now going into it is just to come and see where I can add value. I'm not asking for anything. I'm not trying to pitch or hard sell because I don't have much to offer. I'm not going to try to come with a hat in hand at this point, but really spend the initial times, I'd say 6 months at least, trying to provide value to others.
Jamie, that is the essence of my business plan. Mm-hmm. And I implemented it wholeheartedly. More than I ever thought that I would. I just basically asked for nothing, and I just kept giving and giving and giving and giving. And this thing exploded on me because of that.
Yeah.
So I would say if you can figure out a way to give more, your business will explode also.
Yeah. I'm going to write it down. Yeah.
And there's one of the biggest problems I have right now. I'll be honest with you. One of my friendships, one of my close relationships gets very hurt every time something doesn't go their way, and gets offended easily, thinking that they are owed certain things. And if you can get past that and just be a go-giver and just don't expect tit for tat.
Yeah.
that's what I've taken from this, is that most people cannot do that. They can voice it, but they can't live it. And if you can live it, I'm telling you right now, if I never, I'm not charging for anything that I'm doing. I'm offering all the tools, all the relationships, access to deals, access to capital, everything for free. Okay. So
Yeah.
instead of going to these gurus, you can come to and see me. I'll give you all of the things they're going to give you absolutely free. Okay. But
Yeah.
so I have no way to profit from that. But I've got so many people asking to partner with me because of all the things that I'm giving, that I'm going to wind up profiting probably much more than I ever anticipated. And was not the essence of why I started doing this. You know, I expected that if you asked me to be on a deal here and there, I'd have a little bitty part to play. You know, but and I even thought about, you know, maybe I'll just become a hard money lender, you know, do some of these other things. But
Yeah.
instead, I decided, no, I want to leave something that will break the paradigm and will live way past me. And it's come back to me with so much abundance that I can't even tell you. So that
Yeah.
would be my advice to you. Figure out a way to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And would love to continue a relationship. You know, there's a lot more for us to have in a relationship than just the lending piece of it. And just the thing that we're talking about right now, I'd love to brainstorm with you and figure out how I can help grow your business.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's great, Jim. Well, thank you very much. I'll plan a follow-up call, but yeah, thanks for your
Sounds
time.
great,
Thanks for your
Jamie.
great
Good luck.
thoughts.
I look forward
Really
to talking
appreciate
to
it.
you. All right.
Sounds great.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.